Don't you know you need some sort of introduction? Here it is.
Hi, welcome back to another installation of my work on the 1972 Datsun 510. In today's video, I'm going to be replacing the brake master cylinder. I'm also going to be bleeding the front brakes as well as the rear brakes. I'm also going to be replacing the rear wheel cylinders before I do that. If you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe. And once again, this is work on my 1972 Datsun 510. I hope you enjoy.
Seems like the start of almost every single one of my days involves me cleaning something because I don't put my things away whenever I should the night before. So first I suck out the disgusting original fluid out of this car. This fluid was just, rust colored as all rust color can be. I went ahead and removed the old brake master cylinder. Once I did that, I then replaced it with the new master cylinder. Some things of note here. I ended up having to take out a small check valve, which according to the internet is something bad that will cause your brakes to lock or be spongy depending on whether you have rear disc brakes or not disc brakes. So I took that out, and now I'm just in the process of cleaning up all the parts before they get reused on the new master cylinder, at least the parts that will be used on the new master cylinder. Went ahead and bench bled the new master cylinder. Being careful here whenever I put it in the vise to not over tighten it, just tighten it a lot enough so it would stay still. Once I had the brake master cylinder bench bled, I went ahead and reinstalled it back on the car. Fittings below the brake master cylinder actually weren't in the exact same spot, so I ended up having to bend the new lines, or excuse me, the old lines, original lines, into place so that way they would mount up in the brake master cylinder. It wasn't too hard, the lines are pretty malleable, so I ended up doing that and then tightening them down. I then decided that it was time to bleed the brakes. However, what I found was I could not bleed the brakes because the rear bleeder valve was actually broke on that wheel cylinder. So I decided over the next couple days that I would replace the rear wheel cylinders rather than just upgrade to the new bigger brake kit. So that was about $20 worth of parts that I needed to order. So this is actually now a couple days later, and I am replacing the rear wheel cylinders. Again, the goal here is to get the car running in stock shape and then upgrade to the newer stuff. As always, it's very handy to have a service manual with you, so make for sure to have those around if you've got them. They make great resources. Some things of note here, because I'm not going to just narrate the whole entire thing, although I'm sure you're loving this so far, is that I had some good times. My son actually came out and helped me do the rear brakes, which you'll see here in a little bit. I also ended up breaking a few of the hard lines, which I'll sort of allude to whenever I get there. Oh yeah, so I ended up having to use some heat on it to break it loose. You'll notice that I'm doing something terrible in these, and that is I'm using a set of vice grips in order to do this. That's not the way to break these loose. Unfortunately for me, the lines were so boogered up that I could not use a vice grip if I wanted to get them off. If I didn't want to round them off, excuse me. I ended up using the vice grips to get them on and off. I actually have a new set of stainless steel brake lines for the car that I'll be putting on whenever I move to the bigger brake kit. But again, that's a later task, not a right now task. Most of this stuff's pretty pedestrian, so I'm probably going to speed it up here a little bit. So slowing it back down to the normal speed, you'll see that I actually got a 20-inch brake line, hard brake line from AutoZone, and bent it into shape. I had to actually add a little bit more of a bend in there because it was too long. So you'll see that big giant sort of S curve in the brake line whenever I go to install it. This was the only place that was open on Thanksgiving Day, which is whenever I was doing this. So I appreciate AutoZone being open, and they didn't have the right size of brake line for me to just go ahead and cut the brake line to the proper length myself and then add the flares. While I was here, I realized I probably should go ahead and bleed the clutch slave cylinder as well as clean out the reservoir there. The clutch fluid was also very, very nasty, so I ended up having to bleed that. Whenever I pulled the bleeder valve, the slave cylinder was actually completely blocked, so I'm sure that I'll probably end up having to replace the slave cylinder at some point in time in the near future, but for now it's actually working pretty well, so I'll go ahead and leave it alone. This is pretty much the last of this video. I hope you enjoy. If you got any questions, go ahead and let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, if you like what you see, go ahead and like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you in the comments. And you can also check out my build threads on either Grassroots Motorsports or on ratson.net. Thank you.